All right, awesome. Let's walk through today the Getting Started Guide. It is currently, for anyone watching this as recording, it is September 2018. And I don't know about you guys, but my two little nuggets of kids went to school for the first day today for the school year. And this mama was pretty happy, but I just felt, and they're little, they're just 4 and 1. So it's like preschool. It's 3 hours. They were gone from me. Seriously, the time it took me to go there and back was like almost a full hour. So I got 2 hours of uninterrupted time while they were at their little preschool. But there's something about just this back to school, that little crisp smell in the air in the mornings, and how cool it gets at night, that just had me feeling like renewed and restarted, and like I want to go back to the beginning, back to basics. For anyone who is watching this and, real time, we're coming off of a time where J.R. Ridinger, who is the founder and CEO of our parent company, Market America, just did 4 sessions on our platform called meeton.com, where he really showed the rationale, showed some interesting facts and the right way to build to the management performance compensation plan, which is how all unfranchised owners, including our nutraMetrix consultants and our nutraMetrix health professionals, the way that they get paid. And I just felt so inspired, especially when it boiled down, and I spent some reflection at the end of that time and said, you know what is JR really saying here? And I think it came down to 2 things. It came down to retail, which I'm actually going to touch upon pretty heavily in this presentation tonight. And the second was, creating that leverage. And there's a lot of different ways that you can create leverage. You can, invest in something, right? Monetarily, you can take money and use money as leverage. You could invest in stocks or bonds. You could invest in Bitcoin, right? Or one of those crazy cryptocurrencies these days. You could, take money and you could buy and invest in real estate. Or you can invest in people. That's another way to get leverage. And through our management performance compensation plan, we invest in our people by creating and leveraging and mentoring 2 teams of distribution. And I just think distribution is just the way of the future. I mean, I think that is the way that commerce has been moving towards one of the biggest trends. And when you understand that, when you understand distribution, the fact that, Walmart, Target, CVS, Best Buy, Bed Bath & Beyond, QVC, and Amazon, all that is just a better mousetrap of distribution. And I really appreciate that nutraMetrix has the corner on. We really have excelled in the distribution of a line of health, wellness supplements, weight loss, and genetic testing for the licensed healthcare provider. I think we really own that market share. And so our Getting Started guide, I want to go through a little bit of the spin of, if you feel like me and you feel renewed, you feel a sense of it's September, let's kind of get back to basics. If you are new to the division, or just, recommitting to your goals and what I think is my favorite quarter of every year, which is Q4. I always see the most growth and potential in Q4, not just from this company, which I've been affiliated with for the past 12 years, but I also spent, in that time, I spent almost 10 years working for some other corporations, and Q4 was always the biggest sales quarter that I've always seen. And so let's take advantage of that. And so this is really our blueprint, our Getting Started guide. When you work with nutraMetrix, one of the benefits is that it is a franchise-like system. So we're all working off of the same Getting Started guide. We all have the same tools, the same marketing. We didn't really get to decide as individuals, what was going to be the next flavor in our trim line. We had trim tea. It was like, what are we going to have? Oh, why doesn't, Marcy can have trim lemonade, and Catherine can have Trim apple juice. No, they came out with Trim Cafe. They created the packaging for us. I mean, similar to here in Massachusetts, if you own a Dunkin' Donuts franchise and they roll out with a new coffee flavor, right? They'll give you all the marketing behind it and you'll roll out with that new coffee flavor. So I like that part of it, is that we're all working from the same marketing tools. And the Getting Started Guide really is that foundation. And so I am going to flip through, but I'm going to stop at some of the key pages. We're going to try to keep this to maybe like 30 minutes and then get some questions and answers afterwards, if that's okay with you guys. But I really like when you download this Getting Started Guide that ours is interactive. So that means you can toggle over, all these different tables of content and chapters. There's a lot of clickable links. I really recommend that you spend some time with this. That this is something that you have a shortcut to it on your desktop, that you're working from. You use this really as a living document for yourself. At the first page, I wanted just to congratulate you. I wanted just to start and say that you were here, you made a choice, and you were part of the fastest growing division of Market America. You're part of a division that continues quarter after quarter, year after year, to see explosive growth. You are with a division that has, I think that the whole company is great. We have a really high rating with the Better Business Bureau. We were Torch Award winners twice, which is outstanding. But I think that there is something to be said that we are the division that has attracted over 5,000 licensed health professionals. And the fact that you aligned yourself with nutraMetrix, and I appreciate our training that we are going to work through tonight, where the key to success is to determine your own vision. Okay, it's going to start right here. I just think that that's so incredible, and I hope that this video, this presentation tonight, doesn't get too woo-woo and out there for you guys. But I think that if you read between what we've said here, is that you have all the tools inside of you to create your own success. And all that this Getting Started Guide is going to do is give you that solid action plan to get there. We will never give up on you. We're always committed to your success with nutraMetrix. I can speak from myself, Brandy Murphy, Dr. Deidre Mason, Malika Comfort, the entire nutraMetrix team. We 110% want you to succeed, and we're willing to do whatever it takes to get there. So, congratulations for being on tonight, for showing up, and for taking an interest in getting back to basics. I think out of all of the presentations that we're going to do for the rest of the quarter, this one is the hardest one to get through. This is the one that I hope you don't slough this off. I hope you don't say, I don't know, there's 3 result producing activities, right? And coming up with my vision just isn't one of them. I think that really the people that take time to get clear on where they're going, to get clear on their dreams, to get clear on how they feel about themselves, are the people who are going to be the most successful. So I really hope it's not just about, the half hour we're going to spend dialoguing on this document tonight. It's about the next couple of days and the work that you put in for yourself in determining your role as a nutraMetrix consultant. I think that is going to be the most important thing. And maybe we should reorder this Getting Started Guide, because the next page right here goes through the pre-NC education plan. And I think all these things are great, but I almost think we should start with your vision first. But I'll go in order of the document. That's fine. There's a couple things I just wanted to point out that we get questions on all the time. And these are tools that maybe you haven't gone to already. So just a couple of them. One of them is explore the nutraMetrix YouTube channel. So right here, it is clickable. And I get asked a lot of times about different people's profiles, or do we have such and such type of doctor, and do you know, can you connect me with a physical therapist? Can you connect me with a dentist? Can you connect me, Sarah, with a blah, 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 blah. We have so many of those on the YouTube channel, and I don't know if everyone knows how to get to it. I also see a lot of people that share and use videos that aren't from the official nutraMetrix channel. They're from someone else's YouTube channel. Not something I like to do. I like to keep it our official things. I want people to stay on our official page and not, get into someone else's email list or funnel or sequence. The second thing is Meet On. And so I don't know if everyone knows how to access just the nutraMetrix specific Meet On. So many great videos there. I actually sent one to someone today who had some questions about TLS Select, and I knew that there was a particular video that was on our Meet On channel. And actually, that's so funny, Tina Rose, you just popped up on my screen, and that video happened to be with you. And so that's such a great resource. But, I really like this because it has all these direct links. And how many of us, even just looking through, are there anything, if you guys can type in the chat, is there anything here that you haven't clicked on before, that you haven't seen, that looks like it really could be a great resource for you? Just kind of take a second to audit in your mind and to look through and see. I did help. I've written versions of this guide, so I think I've clicked on just about everything. I should have, right? So just to kind of review, we'll wait till some of your answers maybe come in. The next page too, and we have such a great online education. We have such great online trainings and the power of the internet. The fact that I can be on here tonight from the comfort of, my home office and be on with, so many of you live is quite remarkable. But, right, we talk a lot at NC training about different personality types, and you're going to get the people who are the go-getters, right? The people that they really, that big personality, and they need the recognition, right? Brandy talks about them as people that are top dogs, and they, drive the big fancy cars, and that's, really what they're craving. And then she talks about people who are going to be a little bit more analytical, into the facts. They're going to want to know all the scientific studies. They're going to want to read everything. They're going to want to, dive into all that. You have people who are a little bit more just, go with the flow. Any situation, sure, that sounds great. And they're, a little bit more, they're going to want to get to know the people a little bit more and the feeling that they get from it. And then, there's those who just really like the social aspect of the business. And, I say there's definitely groupies in this business, and that's fine too. Everyone really plays a role. And I think that a lot of those personality types, a lot of those egos are stroked at our in-person trainings. And I really like that even in this nutraMetrix Getting Started guide, we're talking about your local UBPs, where people are going to get recognized. You'll get a social component. You'll get the touchy-feely. And hey, if you bring some handouts and some information, people, the analyticals, will be able to read all the information, throw in an annual report or, something that has a little bit more facts. I like that general product trainings, local seminars, your regional conventions, your world conference. I'm sitting here in my office, and I have right here tickets to my next local event. I will be at my local on this Saturday. I will be at my regional in November. I always have tickets. I'm always promoting them. I was working on selling some tickets today. I think I got one sold today for my local on Saturday. It's never too late to get new people to these events. And that was to a new person. And that's always in the back of my mind is, what is local in your area? And some people think, well, I'm on a nutraMetrix track, so I don't need the whole Market America side of things. It goes hand in hand, guys. You can't have one without the other. So I really hope that when your next local events are. When is everyone here? I know, Barbara, you're going to be with me on Saturday. Tina, you'll be with me on Saturday. Does everyone else know, or kind of make a note in your head to write it down, but when is everyone's next local event that they're attending? Even if it's just a UBP tomorrow. Virginia has a September 8th local. Awesome. It's probably a popular day. Tina, the UBP tomorrow, of course. Oh, and Bonnie's coring before it is great. Maureen, I think the UBP next Tuesday, if that's Concord, I will be showing the plan. Matt says UBP next Tuesday, and I guess I'll see you September 22nd at nutraMetrix 101. September 15th, that sounds like another popular day. A home business presentation, that's great to think about. This is great. Yeah, this is awesome. Linda's with me, 9/8, our September local. This is great, and so, and you can see just from people's names that the people that are plugging in are the people whose names that you're gonna, hear, like the Sharon Lawrence, right? There's a reason why, she's always performing, is because she's always plugged in. So that's great. Nancy Ross Vodka, local, 9/8, awesome. Cindy, I'll see you at the 101-201, September 22nd, super exciting. And so that, I think, is just really important, and especially when I'm starting someone in nutraMetrix. I mean, we're talking about the whole nutraMetrix, the whole Market America business here. Catherine, thank you for chiming in about links that maybe you forgot. So the YouTube for an intro to nutraMetrix, that's great. And you'll be at the September 11th UBP. That's awesome. Great. All right. So moving on here, there's some room too for you to put in some audios. Especially, I like to fill this out with someone. If there's particular audios that I like, that I want people to listen to, I will throw it in there. I think this is really important. So this is where we're going to come up with a couple things. So one of them is, in your own words, why you are partnered with or considering partnering with nutraMetrix. And I think going back to your why, and your why is going to change. I could tell you my why 12 years ago. I mean, and Brody and Ella were barely even a thought in my mind, right? 12 years ago when I started this business. And they're a big part of my why today. And so why, you're doing what you're doing. And some people will write this in what they're avoiding. They're saying, I'm doing this because I don't want a 3-hour commute anymore. Let's just use that as an example. Well, your brain doesn't really know any different when you say what you don't want. You always have to work towards what you do want. So always write things about what you do want, because if you write, because I don't want a 3-hour commute, instead say, I'm doing this because I want the option of working from home. I want to do this because I want to be able to, roll out of bed and have, a 5-minute time to my home office, or I have to walk across the house, whatever it is. Talk about what you do want, not about what you don't want. And the same thing, looking forward 5 to 10 years to describe your I did it. If you read this every single day, this is going to be the most powerful thing that you do. And then, you're going to practice this. Practice telling people a little bit about, who you are, and until you're completely comfortable. Because it's going to be really hard. And even today when people ask me, what do I do? I feel like I do so many different things. And one of the things is that I never try to be something that I'm not, because it never feels right for me. And so, let's just say, back to you, Tina. I mean, you're not going to say that you're something other than, a women's health nurse practitioner. You're going to start with that. You're going to say, I'm a women's health nurse practitioner. I have 2 kids. You're going to start with who you are. Like I always say, oh, I'm a mom. When people ask me what I do, I say I have 2 kids. And I always start with that. I mean, that's what I do 90% of my day. I feel like, even when I'm on here with you guys, I'm thinking about the kids in the background, right? And I'll start with that. I'll start with, I'm the director of sales for a healthcare division. And then I also consult with some practitioners on my own. And I'm a healthcare consultant. I'll say something as simple as that. But I think what a lot of people try to do is they feel imposter syndrome because you think that you need to fit into a box. You think that you need to sound a certain way. And I was out with someone recently, and she is a practitioner, and she's also a very strong nutraMetrix consultant. And we went out, we were visiting some offices, and I kind of just took a moment and sat back and said, you know what? This is feeling more like you're trying to be a rep than you're trying to be who you really are. And you are a practitioner first and foremost. I mean, that's what you do most days out of the week. And then, the day and a half that you have where you have this luxury of going into other offices, that's what you do. But you're putting on like a whole different outfit and a whole different wardrobe and going in and describing what you're doing and not staying true to who you are as a practitioner. And so I said, I just want you, to try that and to try to go into some practices first as a practitioner and introduce yourself and start there and say, well, I also do consulting in healthcare. I specialize in these types of practices, whatever it is. And, that was like, I could just feel like, like the weight just kind of roll off of her, like, wow, I could just be myself. So I totally want to give you guys permission to, when you're doing this, just absolutely and truly be yourself. And that's the way that this is going to be the most genuine for sure. And keep practicing and practicing and practicing. But, we ask our practitioners to come up with what's your I did it? What is your, 5 to 10 year vision? What's your mission statement? We ask practitioners that. But how many of us have come up with our own mission statement? How many of us have come up with our own mission and vision for who we want to work with? I mean, I know I did about a year ago, and it changed my entire practice, my entire business. And I really want you to think about yourself, as I love it that nutraMetrix gives us the ability to own a consulting business that's like a franchise where we're 1099, and this can be whatever we want it to be. But if you don't know where you're going, if you don't know who you are, and you don't have a mission and a vision and policy statements and when your business is open and when your business is closed, I really like, I think it's, who says it? Who did it is Kevin Buckman says, make this a part-time business, not a spare time business. And that was so huge. It's not just, I'll fit it in when I can fit it in. I feel like knowing what you're doing and when you're doing it is so, so huge. And having that level of professionalism will shine through when you talk to practices. On this page, something that I think gets overlooked a lot is the power of actual base 10. And if we want our practitioners to sell product, which is how we get paid, then we ourselves have to go through the process as well. And we have to have, at a minimum, our own 10 customers. And I do a lot of this with people in my accountability groups where I go through and I say, let's go through all of the people in your organization, the people who, are not just, floating by, but the people that are, showing up, they're coming to the events, they're working it. And let's figure out how much BV they're producing. And let's actually take it one step further and go in and figure out how many unique customers they have. I just did this with my own organization. I have 12 customers. Now, I have these one-off customers that will sometimes make a purchase here and there. I didn't count them. Counted to the people that I can every single month rely on for, at a minimum, 30 BV. A lot of my customers, I've gained customer share, so I do much more of that in BV on a quarterly basis. But what I can really count on from them, as long as it's over 30 BV, and that was 12 different people. And so I want everyone, as a follow-up, I'm going to be posting in the group, talking about this a little bit more. I can give you some screenshots. about how I go in and use the reports and look up how many customers I have, and I'll do the same, and you guys can post and we can hold each other accountable. But the first thing you need to do is know where you are. I always set a goal with people that, in their first 90 days, we're going to work towards their first 10 customers. And what products are you going to focus on? Just like with our practitioners, I say, let's focus on somewhere between 3 to 5. So here, we have the 4 products that I'll focus on. You don't need to be an expert in all the products. I know we do say that we match people to products and products to people, but when you're first starting out, get to know, 3 to 5 products really well inside and out. So when you hear people say things like, you know what, I want to lose weight, I have low energy, I'm looking to, kind of get myself back on a healthy eating track, now that it's September, whatever it is, you have a couple products that you can rattle off, just 1 or 2 things about off the top of your head. And so, those are things that I want you to be able to have in your back pocket. And to understand the power of that, I had someone that I work with in one of my accountability groups, and when we sat down and we really focused on her retail, we sat down and we said, let's see where you are, let's see where you want to be, and let's cultivate these customers so you have more consistent customers. And then once we have the consistent customers, we can grow our customer share. And this past summer was the first summer that she actually had the option. She's a teacher full-time, part-time nutraMetrix consultant. She had the option where she could decide, and she didn't actually teach summer school for the first summer because of the retail base that she actually built up. And so I think that is really huge when you're looking at that. But, if you're just brand new and you're just getting started, how are you going to achieve these goals? I like this. It's a living document. Just like I said, throw everything out there, decide how could you achieve your retail and your residual goals. Like, let's use this space here as a brainstorm list, a brain dump of, you could do trial size marketing. You could do Facebook posts. You could have a trim tea party. You could do a TLS class. You could do a wellness 101. You could do, really decide, what are all the different ways, and then how are you going to do it, right? Because I know people that have built this business to a 6-figure residual income from Wellness 101s. I know people that have built this business to a 6-figure residual income from trial size marketing. I know people that, and we can use any example, they all work. They all equally work and don't work. It's going to come down to your mindset. And if you're doing consistent daily action, pick something that you can stick with and you can do consistently. And then I like this. I'm excited about that. Why? How is that easy for you? What is your feeling? What's it going to feel like when you reach those goals? All right, we're going to move on here to actually number 10 here, which is starting your list. And people say, where do you keep your list, Sarah? I do like electronic versions like this. I can have things on my computer, so I travel a lot. I like things on my computer. It always comes with me no matter where I am in the country. I will sometimes then take a few of these people and put them on a daily to-do list. But we got to get started. And, if you need to, let me know. We can jump on a Zoom if people just say, hey, Sarah, I know I need to come up with a bigger list. I'm having a hard time just blocking out the time and writing the names down. Let me know. We'll hop on a Zoom and we'll all do it together. So this is going to be, again, it's a big to-do list. It's almost like a brain dump. I write people on a list, and then I see them on a list, and then I give them a call and say, hey, I was just thinking about you. You know what? I saw their name on a list, but it's a great introduction, right? So that's usually how I start. People say to me, Sarah, what do you say to people? And I say, I was just thinking about you. And so I decide to give you a call. How nice is that when someone says that they've been thinking about you? So I like when people say that to me, so I say it to other people. But you got to just get started, really, is huge. Okay, we're going to go here. And again, this is where I think I want you guys to spend the most time, is identifying your vision. We do it again right here. And, how do you see your life? What are the things you want to do? Who have you helped? What have you achieved? What does your business look like? And then establishing your identity. And I like this too because it has your differentiators in establishing your identity. And again, this really comes down to your mindset. And I think a lot of people, when they get started, they feel like imposters. And I know for me, it's actually funny because I was on the phone with Brandy Murphy about our nutraMetrix annual convention. And about 2 months ago, we brainstormed a list of topics for segments. And I said, I can do this, and I can do that, and I can do this. And so I saw an agenda draft today. And I guess I forgot really what I said I could do. And I'm looking at this like, I don't know anything about that topic. I don't know anything about any of these topics. Like, oh no, like who am I to say I'm an expert on those things? I mean, we all feel like that every time. We do something, we step out of our comfort zone and we push ourselves a little bit further. My natural tendency is to not do the work, but this is the way that I guess, demonstrate my imposter syndrome as I sit down and start doing research. Like, okay, well, before I even can dive into that topic, I am going to buy a book and read about it, listen to 10 podcasts. Like, I just get into student mode. And I need to say, like, I already know so much about that. Everything I signed up for because I am an expert in those topics. I might not be, there's going to be people that know more than me. There's going to be people that know less than me, but I know that I'm feeling success in these areas. And you have to do the same thing when you establish your identity. I mean, you got so far already in life. You have so much, I call it, right, your special sauce. If you've been working with me long enough, I always say, what's your special sauce? What is there that makes you different? What is there that makes you so incredibly fabulous? What are you proud of yourself? And that's what you're going to bring to the table as a nutraMetrix consultant. You have come so far in life already. And, I really want you to think about, when you write out your vision too, what is going to make this easy? I hear people and they say, Sarah, I don't know. Like, I don't have a lot of time, or I don't know the right people, or, there's a solution for everything. And just make it easy and effortless and focus on that. And I think that's going to be really important when you're doing this, is to I want to remind you guys that you have all the tools within you already to make you successful. When we look at goals, I'm going to basically end on this. No, let me go back to goals. Because there is, right here, when we talk about how much you need to earn weekly, monthly to live the lifestyle that you want. I know when I was new, and I heard the whole thing, right? I'm going to say it again, 2 to 3 year plan for an ongoing 6-figure residual income. Like, how many people raise their hand, if you heard that too? And it was really hard for me to go from 0 to 6 figures in my mind. And of course, that's what I wanted. But to make incremental goals, I always, with new people, say, let's get your first 10 customers in the first 90 days. And let's also try to show your first 10 plans in the first 90 days. Those two things, like, at least we have things that we can, make a check mark off of, a tally mark, we can add them up. And, I also think it's important to celebrate every win. When I got started in my area, Steve Harris is our local trainer. And when I was new, again, with my imposter syndrome, I went to every single scheduled Basic 5, every single scheduled new on franchise owner training, every single scheduled ECCT. And I remember when I saw that I was coming close to my first $600 check, as to close the pay cycle, to be an executive coordinator for the very first time. And Steve Harris said to me, what are you going to do with the money? And I was like, I don't know, just put it in my bank account, right? And he's like, no. The first check, you have to know what it's going for, and you have to do something that's going to be celebratory. And I bought myself a watch. With a 300, I don't even remember wasn't $600. It might have even been like $150 watch. I don't even think it was anything that fancy. But I went out and I did something that I'd never done before. Like I had never I was 20, 21 years old, like really gone out and bought myself a piece of jewelry like that before. And I just felt like a watch was, I don't know, I decided that was appropriate. And, I got a watch and people would compliment me and I'd say, oh yeah, no, it was a bonus from my company. This watch, or I won it as a prize. Like I kind of used it as a recruiting tool in a way. And people would say, oh, like, tell me a little bit more about that, or that's cool. Or what do you do for a living? So it was like a conversation piece too. And so I think that I learned early on that it's so important to celebrate every single win. And I want you guys to do that. And so, if you're not at 10 customers right now, that's fine. Be honest with us, be honest with yourself, be honest with the group, and let's figure out how are you going to get to 10 customers and what are you going to do to celebrate that? Because otherwise we'll just keep working and working and working and we'll never really appreciate ourselves and the work that we put in. But the next couple of pages are really a track to run on. People will ask all the time, how can I stay on track? What should I be doing? And I'm working on coming out with, I think, even for us for the rest of the year, a even simpler basic 5 checklist. But I think this is great if you're brand new, or even if you just need a kick in the pants, like to read your career manual, to listen to your audios, learn one new product, review in Facebook, read your goal statements, and you can go in and click it and check it off, which is great with a yes or a no. So I just love how interactive it is, right? We're trying to go green in the world. So you don't need to print it out. You can just save a different version of this form every single week, which is so nice. And here we have some more too. So I think that's why I'm calling this a living document. And then the rest of this, your homework is going to be to really read through it. Because if you haven't, 18 to 24, it's really 18 to 23, the next, 5 pages, I think is the most impactful 5 pages that nutraMetrix has put together. There were just a few points that I wanted to make before I take some questions. I'm going a little bit over. I got really excited about mindset. But one of them is down here in determining the sales potential of an account. So there's a lot of factors like the size of a practice, the HP's personality type, their belief in the role of nutritional support, their understanding of how to introduce products to patients, the staff, if they have an inventory, and if they have an effective marketing system. So there's really these 7 points. And when you go through either your potential accounts or your current accounts, to go through and look at that and how can we tweak some of those and make them better? How can we, bring an account up a little bit in the continuum? There's these 7 things that we can do to get sales moving, to get retail growing. But if they're not willing to change, then that's just going to stunt their growth. And you really, then I think, need to figure out how much time you're going to put into them. So always at the beginning, the first 90 days with any account, for me, I make sure that me and my team are in there once a week. And I train about that at NC training with you. After that, I go in there depending on what their sales are. Not their sales potential, but what their actual sales are. And so if they have really big sales, if the orders are coming in, I'm spending more time in there. If they're not, I'm not. It's just not worth it. I mean, I get paid when products are sold. I'm not there just to show up. I make it very clear to them that I'm not a rep, that I'm here to really partner with them and help their performance. And so I just think, to look at it that way, think about your current accounts and think about with these 7 points, how are ways that you can increase their staff involvement? How can you get them to have a bigger inventory? How can you help them with their marketing? I think these are really great points right there. And then on the next page too, when we talk about here, it says, oh, right here, sorry, yep. Right here with frequency of practice visits. And if you're following the different steps, you're doing 3 preliminary visits with your HP during the discovery process. The 15-minute discovery, the proposal, and implementation. Usually those occur, sometime around in one of those 3 meetings or right after the health professional is opening up their account. But I really do think it's like dating. And I think you can't I've been married now for almost 7 years, but what I remember, and I live vicariously through my little siblings, is that if they go out on a date and they don't hear from the person in the next 24, maybe 30 hours, hello, it's like, where did that person go? I'm not talking to them again. And I think that a lot of people say, Sarah, because you're young, you know how to meet people and talk to them and cultivate things on social media. And I really just like to think of social media as another way to have a touch point. But I still send thank you notes after my visits, especially the initial visits. I like to send a follow-up email. And I don't send an email with more information. I'll just send an email with, again, here are the links of the things we reviewed. It's never anything new or that we didn't review. It's either some information I promised or what we already reviewed. I do like social media. I'll go in after a meeting if I haven't already. I'll like their page. I'll comment on some of their posts. I might even send them a message through Facebook, just saying on their business page, it was really great to meet with you. I find it's been very funny. I just took my family on a trip this weekend to Storyland, which is up here in New Hampshire. And we couldn't figure out what their hours were over the holiday weekend. And I couldn't get anyone live on the phone. I went onto Facebook and I messaged Storyland, and within 10 minutes, someone messaged me back a response. Facebook, they rate people on how fast businesses get back to people that message them. And they say they want to keep their response time up and their score high. So companies, especially bigger ones, have dedicated individuals just to answer them. I had the same problem with a product I bought, a little water bottle for my son. Part of it broke. The email box was full. That was the bounce back message. But within minutes, I got someone to respond to me on social media. So I find today it's a faster channel. So, I sometimes do that initially to meet accounts, but then I will do it afterwards just as a nice to meet you. I will send text messages, especially if I have their cell phone. I'll stop in with a thank you card or again, some follow-up information. And then I just make more appointments, but I try not to let more than 24 to 30 hours go by. Cause I think it's not that you're dating your health professional, and of course we're being professionals, but that it is that same, we're getting to know each other. We're kind of excited. We both brought some new ideas to the table. Let's keep this going. And I think that's where they just let too much time go by. And it's okay. I'm busy. I can't always get back in to see someone for maybe a week or 2. That sometimes happens, right? But I do know that I still always touch them. I try to every 24 to 30 hours. And I think that technology has helped me so much. Another gem right here is in handling objections. And Lynn Briand and I did a really great objections webinar. And so if you haven't watched that, it is on Meet On. I suggest you watch that. It was really great information on, what are some things that health professionals will often say, what is the real meaning behind it, and what's some information to overcome it. And then my favorite part of this whole document, I would say, is down here. The nutraMetrix corporate team believes in you, and you absolutely can do this. It's going to start with you understanding your identity, your vision, your mission. The way you feel about yourself is going to determine the whole thing. If you understand where you're going and you make this journey just easy, light, fun, and abundant, I know you'll attract more of that. So with that being said, does anyone have any questions for us this evening, or just any feedback, or, ways that maybe I gave you a different way to look at this getting started guide?
Hey, Sarah, it's Catherine.
Hey, Catherine.
Hey, I think that the best part was just a reminder of how valuable this tool is. And there really is, everything is there. I just love it.
It's so robust. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's great.
Yeah. Matt has a question in the chat. He said, you mentioned the phrase customer share. Can you explain what that means? So customer share, you either have market share, where you have more customers or more of the market, and customer share is where you sell more things to an existing person. So if someone is, let's say, buying one product from me, if I can get them to go on 2 products, 3 products, 4 products, however many products, that's customer share. That's a good question. I hope that explained it for you.
Sarah, I liked the bit where you said, design it so that it's easy for you.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've ever touched on that before, but I liked that. So it's like, okay, I've got to think about that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one thing I think I do, but I maybe have never trained on that. And I think I realized recently that that's one of my strengths, is that anything that, if I saw that someone did something in a different way and it didn't feel like it was aligned with my lifestyle, it didn't feel aligned with the way I wanted to build my business, I just found an easier way. And it worked. Thanks, Maureen. I think a lot of people are saying that they like that it's a live document. And I don't know if you haven't downloaded the nutraMetrix Getting Started Guide in a while, I don't know if people know it's a live document, that they can keep a running copy on their desktop and work with it. Thank you, Linda. If I don't see you, I'll see you Saturday. Denny said she missed the first half. Yep. I'm going to post this on meeton.com, which may be where you're watching it right now as the replay. But yes, I will put it on Meeton. Cool. Yeah, it's a good just reminder. I mean, when I was going through it again, I recently just went through this document when I was putting together that Objections webinar, and I forgot about these last 5 pages. You have to read through them. Every sentence is like a gem. You have to go through this. It's the whole business, or our whole business of being a nutraMetrix consultant in 5 pages. It's just genius. I really hope you go through. And that's it. Like Shannon said, back to the basics every time. Yeah, some people, and it's fine, and you can't blame people for not walking you through this document, because a lot of us don't start in nutraMetrix as the division, right, that we started in. And so you've probably been through the Market America Getting Started guide, but I think that to go through the nutraMetrix one, especially if you're recommitting to your nutraMetrix business, is important. Oh, Linda added some names to her list. That's great. I'm always thinking of new people, and I hope, Linda, that you tell them all that you were thinking of them. All right. If you guys don't mind, I am going to peace out, but we can totally continue this conversation, which I hope that we do, back in the official nutraMetrix Facebook group. I want to know from everyone a little bit more about their retail base and what they're doing for that, because I think that this is an important quarter. If your retail's not where it should be, this is a great quarter to get it up. And I think we should do a little bit more work around auditing some of the current accounts we have, with those 7 things that kind of qualify our accounts, and where can we help tweak those accounts to make them better and make them grow a little bit more. And just, I really hope everyone takes the time to read through this, because I know, it's going to take you a couple hours. So block it off, make yourself a nice strong cup of Trim Cafe, and sit down with this document. And I know it's going to make a difference for you and your business. So thanks everyone for being on, and I'm excited to get started with you.
Thanks, Sarah.
Bye.